Hello, welcome again to my Lifestyle Bite series. This is episode 2 of season 3. Have you been able to watch or listen to episode 1? If not, I would recommend that you do so because most of the episodes in this season revolve around that first episode. Today, we are going to look at dealing with frustration. Dealing with frustration. But before we go into that, I would like to reiterate that every time you see a video or a podcast from me, the essence is threefold. And the first leg of the essence is to cause a mindset change in whoever listens or views the broadcast. The goal of that is so that the person can position himself or herself to generate ideas, because ideas are actually what you need to take you from where you are to where you are bound. And ultimately, once you are able to ideate, that would, in practice, give you leverage for whatever it is you desire to accomplish. So please bear this in mind at all times. Now, let us go into the episode for today, which is dealing with frustration. I'll be right back. Welcome back. As a spin-off of episode 1 of this season 3, where I encourage every one of us to embrace our mental health, this episode allows me to speak to you about frustration and how to get a handle, how to deal with frustration. Frustration is a feeling of dissatisfaction with issues or with people, often accompanied by anxiety or depression, resulting from unfulfilled needs or unresolved problems. Some of the typical responses to frustration include anger, giving up, like quitting or burnout, loss of self-esteem or self-confidence, stress, and depression. There is a saying that frustration begets anger and anger begets aggression. Frustration is therefore an emotion that we all must learn to deal with, and to deal with fast. So how can you avoid and or deal with frustration? The first and fundamental thing is to know what is going on, to identify the source of the frustration. My friends, it's a no-brainer that one should understand why expectations were not met, which led to frustration. But a lot of people cannot even self-diagnose that their behavior is down to frustration. So, if you do not know the source, how can you possibly begin to fashion out a solution? The way to identify the source of frustration is by self-probe. Self-probe. How do you do this? Listen to me. Your frustration, my frustration, is a reaction to something. We need to understand what that thing is. That is, what is it that triggered the frustration, or what normally triggers the feeling of frustration in us? It could be an unrealized goal. It could be another person's failure to do what we expect them to do. It could be any reason. Now, to do this effectively, that is self-probe, you go by way of self-introspection, where you turn the searchlight inward to, one, determine why you got frustrated, the source or the thing that triggered it, that is, what you did in the process when you were venting your frustration, and what you could possibly have done better. So that will be the first thing you need to do, to identify the source by doing a self-probe, a self-introspection. Secondly, you need to get a grip. I need to get a grip. And this is basically self-control. So how do I encourage you and I to get a handle on the situation by controlling ourselves? Basically, by a change of perspective. And I'll explain that. Finding a new perspective allows you to see another way of looking at the issue that led to frustration. For example, it is not unlikely that you had pushed all the blame of what happened on the object of your frustration and the venting of your frustration. For example, if somebody had let you down, maybe you had given them a task to do, and they had done it in a way that created more problems than solved anything, you are likely to have taken it out on the person. You are likely to have blamed that person. Now, the way to do self-control, my friends, is to turn the searchlight to yourself. Do some sort of perspective change. Put yourself in the shoes of the person, the target of your frustration. For example, look at yourself as, okay, if it was Adewale Adeniji, that got this task, would I have done it this way? Why would I have done it this way? What could have been the reason why I did it that way? That way, you are trying to role play, and thereby you see the perspective from which that person may have behaved or that thing may have happened. Another way of exercising or practicing self-control is by using systems, exercises that aid self-control. Exercises such as taking deep breaths. It has been scientifically proven that should relax the body. Taking deep breaths. Meditation. Now, meditation chills you out and helps you to relax more. Setting boundaries. Going forward, relating with that person or that circumstance, you set boundaries. Taking anger management therapies, and believe me honestly, they work. My dear friend, if you need help with any of these exercises that aid self-control, do not hesitate to contact me. The details will roll at the end of this episode. These self-control mechanisms have been proven to help in coping with frustrating situations and circumstances. Third, embed yourself in a quiet environment. And this is quite apart from meditating that I mentioned on the two. Now, finding a safe place is what I'm talking about. A calm, working environment for the singular purpose of cooling off. You move away from the theater of frustration, as it were, to a place that is safe and quiet where you could cool off. Now, tuning out noise that had led to the frustration, or any noise for that matter, has been proven to be therapeutic. It gives you, your body, the opportunity to regenerate. And it also allows you to see the finer details of situations that would ordinarily have stumped you and led to more frustrating situations. A cooling off period also allows you to rechannel your energies to positive things instead of dwelling on what caused your frustration. Do I have time to take one more? Thank you. Okay. Now, let me take the fourth one, journaling. Journaling. At times, expressing yourself or venting, for want of a better word, helps. But it is not my recommendation that you should vent on the object or the cause, the trigger of your frustration. But rather than vent openly, which I say you must avoid at all costs, you could vent into a journal. A journal is an inanimate object. When you journal, you pour out your frustrations in the form of a journal. It releases, the need for you to vent has been met, but you have really not come after an individual. You have done that, let out, as it were, into a journal. What that helps, journaling, what it helps with is that you can go back to the journal, sift through whatever it is you had written down, and it helps you in the process of self-probe and self-introspection. My dear friends, I hope you will take to heart the tips I have shared with dealing with frustration. So let me conclude. All of us, you, me, the next Adam, the next Eve, we must avoid frustrating situations and reactions at all costs. Why? Because it is good for our mental health. Do not forget that I had mentioned to you that you should embrace your mental health. Learning to deal with frustration is one of the ways by which you can effectively do that. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope it has helped. Please reach out to me at the details that will show shortly if you are watching this as a video, or in the description box if you are listening to this as a podcast. And we will be willing to help you with anything that you need help with. My dear friends, as I close, let me leave you with this. You were created to excel, and excel you must. My name is Adewale Adeniji. Take care of yourself and be assured in your heart that I love you. Bye for now.